Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, December 5th. We have the new expansion out, although frankly, the new expansion really isn't doing anything for me. I deleted all of my decks and built new decks, and I suppose I didn't show these off for the European account, which is where we are, but that's kind of it. Like, I just built new decks using hsreplay.net, using the dust and the new cards that I got, but frankly, hsreplay.net probably doesn't have any new top meta decks available yet, and even if they did have new card top meta decks that might be the kinds of decks that people play, streamers play, I probably don't have enough cards to pull them off. Like, I know that there's some crazy strategy I've seen where you can do 25 or even 50 damage using one specific card and several other helper cards, but it seems like you have to do it very late in gameplay, like turn 15, turn 20. So I'm not sure how much that strategy really is going to work, and we're just going to have to see. Meanwhile, the Tavern Brawl came out and it was a Brawliseum, which doesn't really relate much to what was happening with the new Rastakhan cards. In fact, the Rastakhan cards really haven't had any lore or explanation. But there is a solo adventure that's going to come out in 2 weeks, which by my guess is December 28th, that they're going to put out this new single player expansion. So I'll be streaming like 2 days after Christmas, or this solo expansion. I feel like the release time for this was really poorly planned. And the daily quests aren't really working with that, so we're going to end up having to do monster hunt bosses. Ideally, I could get through all the news here, and there'd be something there. Here, this one doesn't even have, the European account doesn't even have the solo expansion out yet. So maybe it's actually the 29th. Monster hunt would be the Witchwood. So we'll just hop in here. We'll just see that we're making a Jade deck, and I think we'll continue to play down that road, unless we want pirates, unless we want secrets. I guess we could go pirates. We'll just keep on playing. We got a lot of news to cover, a lot of games. I doubt any more people will want to watch the stream on Friday than they want to watch the stream today. So there's no real reason to leave this undone. See, I'm getting more story here doing this Witchwood solo expansion than I would get let's see, than I've gotten for Rastakhan's Rumble so far. Rastakhan's Rumble might get some story during the solo expansion. I never really got all of the background story on the Witchwood either, though, to be fair. You just get these little flavor things that just, to me, feel like, oh, you don't get to know what it is unless you go and play World of Warcraft, and if that's the deal they're offering, then I'm not willing to take it. So I'm gonna play this, and then next turn play this. GameIndustry.biz has an article. PUBG Mobile leads the winners in Arcade Games of the Year Game of the Year awards. 20 titles celebrated for innovation, competitive multiplayers and casual accessibilities. This is Google's, I guess, Google Play Store Game of the Year awards. Is there a full list here? Not really. Like, it's hard to, the way they've written this, to even figure out what is what. Darn it. Let's see. There were 4 categories. PUBG Mobile was crowned overall game of the year among one of 5 winners in the most competitive category. They also mentioned in this article Warhammer Age of Sigmar, never heard of it. Realm War, never heard of it. Dragon Ball Legends, okay, that sounds slightly reasonable. Asphalt 9, never heard of it. And Badland Brawl. I don't know what this Dragon Ball Legends actually is. Favorite indie games included Reign, Game of Thrones. Is that really an indie game? Cube Escape Paradox, which I think I've heard of that one. Returner 77. Evoland 2, I've heard of that. And Alto's Odyssey, which I've never heard of. And this really is, for the most part, just an indicator of how poor the performances of the Google Play Store and Android games in general. Let's see. 5 other games were celebrated, including Gorogoa, Umirio, I've never heard of Umirio, Hero Hunters, never heard of it, Battlelands Royale, and Don't Nod's Life is Strange, which I don't know if you really call Life is Strange your typical or standard
to complete that game.
Let's see.
Swarm.
Is this the card to play? No. I could play this, do 4 damage, and then I could play this and return it. Let's see. The article also mentions the most casual games, which included The Sims Mobile, Candy Crush Friend Saga, Orbia Tap and Relax, Far Away 3, and Murder in the Alps. And I think I may have heard of Murder in the Alps, and that's kind of it.
Reinforcements be here.
Can we do this? Let's go and hit this. Not gonna win here. So yeah, Google Play Awards, even when Google themselves try to find a list of the best games on Android, the list is pretty pathetically bad. Like, the idea that cell phones are gonna be a viable game system is unbelievable, in my opinion. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Not anytime soon, at least. But of course, there are a few games that are alright. I'm still playing Adventure Town, although I think I might be at the max level of Adventure Town, so I'm really struggling at this point to, like, I guess there's one more thing to level up and some other things to figure out. Have I literally done everything possible on Adventure Town? If I have, at that point I probably should stop playing it. I'm playing Kleptocats 2 and Kleptocats 1. That'll take me a long time to finish it, but that's literally just a tap and wait game. And I'm playing Clash Royale, which right now I'm a co-leader of a clan, and people are upset with me because I actually told them, made a rule, and I'm enforcing it. Somebody joined the clan who was very high up, and he was requesting wizards, which is fine usually. There's really nothing wrong with that. But he had caused such a shortage of wizards, because he was requesting wizards a lot. Like every single request, every single trade he had, it was give me more wizards, give me more wizards, give me more. And so he's kind of like a Michael Jordan in basketball. Maybe this is a bad example because maybe Michael Jordan wasn't like this, but he was like one of those basketball players who are hogging the ball all the time and don't ever pass it to anybody. He's showboating, and it was just poor teamsmanship. So at a certain point I just said, look, there's a drought now. All these people who have been giving all the 49 other people in the clan who had been given this one person wizards, now were coming back and requesting wizards because they didn't have any. And so it actually affected the balance of where every other kind of card simply there was plenty of those cards, and this has never been an issue before. And so eventually I just had to say, look, I've got to put a ban on trading wizards for the foreseeable future. And that person that caused the drought ignored that ban, ignored multiple warnings, because I put it out where everybody should have seen the ban and everybody should have known about it, and that person was the second person to decide to ignore it. Meanwhile, there's about 2 or 3 other people who are complaining that the person who basically, on top of ignoring the warning, was just being insubordinate, and that they thought they could just get away with it because they were high ranked, is my guess. So that person gets kicked. Now other people are complaining because I'm enforcing a rule. So the clan I'm running, which basically I am running it. Like, I was made co-leader at no request of my own. I was just playing it as a member of the clan, and somebody made me co-leader after a year, because I guess I just stuck with it. Lots of other people were made co-leader. There was a problem with the clan almost a year ago that it was about to fall apart just because of a troll who had been allowed to be made a co-leader too. So nobody other than the leader himself could have kicked him, and the leader of this clan doesn't really do anything ever. Honestly, if they made me leader of the clan, I would demote several of the other co-leaders down to just like 1 or 2 people that are actually actively doing something to make the clan work as a team. But there's a lot of people in the clan that don't know the idea or concept of teamwork. They think that they should just automatically be made an elder, not that an elder even means anything. and so then they're upset when I set a standard and said these people will be made elders, these people won't, this is what you have to do to be made an elder. They're upset with that. So I'm dealing with a bunch of children almost certainly where they don't like it when when you make a rule, they don't like it when you enforce that rule and kick people out of the clan because they don't force the rule. They have been making a lot of legitimate complaints about a lack of an enforcement as far as it goes with playing war days and playing the clan wars, but that really was just a matter of it was very difficult, if not impossible, to monitor that. And with the new December update of Clan Wars and everything else, it is now no longer difficult to monitor that. So I will be able to start kicking people who are not contributing to the clan wars, which has been a rule, and I've been mostly banning ignoring it because I just don't know. Clan wars happen too often in case you're not familiar with Clash Royale, which I imagine a lot of people aren't. They happen too often, frankly. There used to be a system where you only had to participate a little bit and log in like pretty much every day. You should be logging in, but you could miss some days. You could miss 2 or 3 days and it really wouldn't have been a big issue. Whereas Clan Wars, if you're not active every single day, then you can't participate in the clan war. And if I kick people because they weren't active in one clan war, but they've been very active in all the others, that's kind of unfair.
Where's my cat?
Let's see.
I smell blood.
Can I win here? Not really. Well, I lose here.
Hey, lights out.
4-kill Naias!
So yeah, sometimes it's not fun and popular to be the guy in charge, but honestly the clan it's not very much a teamwork clan. So it needed this, and this is like, in a weird way, this is kind of what it needed. Is if I could get rid of some of the members who just want to not really be on a team and don't want to follow instructions, that's fine. Like, if literally this has been like the first instruction I've given to the clan probably in a year or so, if the first time I give instructions people immediately are upset and don't want to follow it, then really, are you on a team? Because I'm basically a coach. If you were playing football and you were upset because the coach tells you what plays to play, like, you're not team material. Sorry, you just aren't. I'll take that. Moving on, like, that was definitely a rant I needed to get off my chest, I suppose. And yeah, don't try to join my clan if you're a fan of mine, because you just won't ever get in. We don't have open slots that often. Let's see. So we play this on the first try and we try to just beef it up. We have a game on Steam called A Maze Christmas, yet another one of the A Maze series of terrible, cheap, low effort games that still allowed on Steam. See, it really is a great example, these games that are just constantly, every week there's a new version of it that is only slightly different. The fact that Valve cannot curate or doesn't want to curate even those games goes to show that they wouldn't succeed if they tried a greater curation of the website, and that's something I think they can realize, like that it just would never happen well. Okay, what if I do this and take that? That'll work. That'll work quite nicely. So this guy's just gonna keep, it's an enchantment, so I can just keep on pumping enchantments on it. Interesting. Next we have a game on Steam called Super Raka, R-A-C-H-A, which looks like a low effort racing game that really has no roads or textures or anything. No UI, it's missing quite a lot. English not supported, it's a Portuguese Brazilian game. Like, at the level of polish this is on, you might as well have just made a dragster game where you're dragging and racing down a single straight lane. Don't even bother trying to put curves in it, because you've got nothing here like that. So if I do this and do this and do this and then do this and do that goes back in there, so I have a 1 in 9 chance of getting that card back.
That is the web.
Let's see.
You like my invention.
And I've got plenty of health, so I could probably take my time, at least for now. Let's see. We play this, we do this, we grab this one again, and then we can do this.
No shinies.
I got the wrong weapon, darn it. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called X Archetype, which looks like a very zoomed out platformer shooter game. Like, I can't even tell where on the screen the main character is right now. UI looks bad. Yeah, there's nothing here. Like a slight idea of a Terraria shooter, but yeah, it's just way too zoomed out. That's not making it to the list. Okay, if we do this and then what do I want to do 2 damage, and then do snake trap, I guess. Then attack.
Job done.
Yeah, it's not a surprise though that we've not really run into any good games lately. Alright. There we go. That. See, I doubt this is going to save its enchantments from previous games, but that would be really amazing if it did. I needed that. I didn't realize I needed it. I didn't see that taunt. We have a Gamma Sutra article I think I already talked about. Signition is looking for a game programmer in Palo Alto, California. Signition, we already looked up, was a like educational math game developer. So we don't have to do anything more on that. So that is good. Let's open this pack and then we can move over to the Asian account. I suppose if we get all the daily quests done, we could just save some of the news. It's not like the news is really too groundbreaking, although there is some groundbreaking news that we've not talked about yet, somewhat. Now, on the European account, that pack probably still is just 5 extra cards. Yeah. I think while there is more cards missing from the classic set, it's not by that much. Let's come out of crafting mode and look at the classic set. Right. We have a couple of Druid epic games, a couple of Hunter epic cards, a single Paladin epic card, a Priest epic card, a Rogue epic card, a Warlock epic card. Wait a minute. Maybe I need to be in crafting mode. Yeah. Yeah. There's about 4 cards here, 2 cards here, 2 cards here, 1 card here, 4 cards here, 4 cards here, 2 cards here, 2 there, 3 there, and then 8 there, plus another 5 there. So I still will probably in the next expansion want to try to open at least 25 more packs of classic cards and try to get the classic collection for the European account and the Asian account to be close to 100% of a collection, just like the Americas account is. Let's switch over now to the Asian account. I haven't managed to upload the edited version of the card pack opening video. I chose not to do deck rebuild videos. I could have certainly tried to make a lot more content, but honestly, there really weren't any deck rebuilds I saw that I felt like I could make with the new expansion. Alright, so we need 3 more victories any mode. We have a warrior and we have odd cost cards, and they're all 60, so probably shouldn't free roll any. Let's see. We have an odd paladin and we have an odd rogue on the Asian account, and I spent, I believe, an extra 1600 dust to summon create and craft Baku the Moon Eater. We might as well, I suppose, just look at all the cards decks we made for the Asian account. Let's see. Token Druid seems to be pretty similar. This Hunter deck, it's probably a Spell Hunter deck. Yeah, this is definitely a Spell Hunter deck. I think I either got this card or crafted this card. It's actually quite a nice card, but probably not one I should have crafted if I did craft it, because it's not a classic card. Tempo Mage, for the most part, seems the same. And these decks will get a little bit of use. We'll probably do at least 20 games of each character class before the next expansion. But 20 doesn't really sound like that much for the next 3 or 4 months that it takes for them to come out with another expansion. Ideally, I kind of want them to slow down the expansions and come out with something only like twice a year. Token Shaman is full of elementals, just like the other Token Shaman on the America's account. Zoo Warlock, I think I was playing Zoo Warlock anyways on most of the accounts. So I'm not sure how much of these changed. This Rush Warrior theoretically would potentially have some new cards, but it's kind of more of a Murloc deck than using any of the new cards with Rush. Alright, so I'm gonna take this Odd Rogue and copy it to the clipboard. And what do we want to do? Either win 3 games more with a Paladin and Warrior, which I wouldn't have. Wait, could I play Odd Paladin? Was that an option? Yes, I do have Odd Paladin, so I'll copy Odd Paladin. And then I just need to come down to decide, do I want to reroll this? No, Odd Paladin, Odd 3 victories and 3 victories. All lines up. Let's do this Tavern Brawl. Not likely that we will actually get 3 victories in the Asian Tavern Brawl, but we can hope. Gematsu has an article, Code Realize Wintertide Miracles launches February 14th in North America. This probably is a it's a PS4 and Vita, I assume, visual novel. Let's lock this in. It's from Idea Factory. Interesting. The Idea Factory being the one where the artist went freelance from it, and the developer of the Neptunia games. I think Code Realize is kind of an anime manga series because it sounds familiar. Yeah, it is a visual novel. The one screenshot I can see, I guess I'll just show it. No real reason not to just show it. We have a slightly less moe anime style going on here. That looks alright for this one screenshot.
None will survive.
I wouldn't really be upset if the moe anime style shifted. It's time for it to evolve into something completely different. I think it's been around for long enough, and we may get slightly more of things like that, but it has to shift into something better, not something worse. So Baku the Moon Eater upgraded me to summoning 2 here, 1/1 recruits. Let's see. Gamasutra has a blog, 4 design lessons that were really obvious to everyone but me. Number 1 is random stuff is fun. Number 2 is we don't need to worry about the human race not learning about game design. Number 3, it's okay sometimes for games to waste your time. And number 4 is the fantasy really matters a lot. Alright, for the most part that sounds realistic. There's nothing there I violently and immediately disagree with. The only one that's slightly questionable is it's okay for games to it's okay sometimes for games to waste your time. I think on rare occasions I agree with that. I think though there have been a lot of instances where it gets way out of hand.
The light protects me.
Way out of hand.
Out of my jungle!
Let's see. What do we want to do here? I think I just kind of want to end my turn. +2/+2 and taunt. See, Gematsu has an article, Xenon Racer launches early 2019. It's coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC for $49.99 US dollars. There's a little trailer video here. I'll see what it's all about. Do this.
Reporting for duty.
And we'll do this. Then
For justice.
go ahead and attack there. So Xenon Racer looks to me to be a highly polished race car game that maybe the cars have guns, but I'm not sure. They definitely have speed boosts and move really fast, so it's like sort of like F-Zero if F-Zero was just regular dragster cars. It seems you're somewhat encouraged to crash into other cars. It doesn't look bad. It does not look bad at all. I'm not 100% sure though there's enough demand for too many new racing games. And since we don't have a real release date, this is a game that will just show up on what's on Steam eventually. Alright. This.
Speak your peace.
And this.
Reporting for duty.
And
For justice.
this. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called The Seven Chambers, which is a hidden object game, not by Plug-in Digital. We could probably have guessed that by the fact that it doesn't say Collector's Edition. Again, don't get tricked by this interesting looking, relatively, well, at this point it's kinda good, kinda bad CGI. Like, this really has, this one video will happen, but it will have nothing to do with the still images that you see. Seems like you're gonna end up in a coma and the entirety of the action takes place in a dream world. $9.09 discounted right now, so hidden object games still are very, very expensive for what you're getting. Do I want to do this? Or do I want to do this?
Let me
Let's see. If I do this, if I do this, let's do this,
For
and attack
justice.
this, and get rid of one of these guys.
Move quickly.
Let's see. So I'm really not in the mood anymore to put hidden object games on the follow list. I don't think in 2019 I'll be looking to purchase any hidden object games. So even if there are some really good ones out there, I'm willing to miss those. Okay. Is this really the time to do that? This.
Reporting for duty.
This.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see. This.
Mushroom power.
In return. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article, Arcus Path Review, the path less traveled. I haven't heard of Arcus Path. It's some kind of VR game. So, let's see what this looks just kind of like a weird VR game. Yeah, it's a PlayStation VR game. Apparently, it's also available on Oculus Rift and HTC Vive, but not on Steam. The TechRaptor gave it an 8.5 great review. It says Arcus Path is simple enough for VR newbies to enjoy, but also complicated enough for an easily satisfying game for everyone. Alright, let's do
The light
this.
dims, but we fight.
Behold
that.
the might of Stormwind. The battle. The battle. The battle.
Finally got far enough down the rabbit hole with this strategy. The pros for Orcus Path are a neat graphic novel style, gameplay is easy to pick up, and surprising complexity and good alternate soundtrack. The cons are some mechanics will kill momentum. Unfortunately, it's a PlayStation VR game, so I'll never play it. Okay. What can we do? Do I want to take damage to get one more of those done? Not probably.
For the Alliance!
So, do I want to increase? I could have increased the damage of everything right now. So do this.
Reporting for duty.
And do this. And do this.
The battle! The battle!
I must move quickly.
Repent!
The battle! Mushroom punch!
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna survive this. I probably am not. Seems like he's building the exact same strategy that I was.
What to do?
Let's see.
You are not welcome here.
If I can get these down by a decent amount. Okay. If I was to say attack
Repent!
this, it's probably not enough. So let's do this, and then
For the Alliance!
let's not do that. I don't think I did that quite right. Start with this. Then bump that guy up, play that.
But we fight.
And do I want to kill this guy? Or do I want to leave everything alone? I think I'll leave everything alone. I'm paying attention to this actual game, which is something I usually don't do. So while he's thinking of his move, we have this game on Steam called Survival, which looks like it's a Chinese game of some sort. Massive multiplayer, looks like a PUBG clone, just like somewhat polished but nowhere good enough. Let's see. Requires VR to play too. It's English and simplified Chinese, it says. Yeah, a VR PUBG clone is what I'm guessing it is. Yeah, just the fact that it is a multiplayer game alone means it's not making it to my list. I'm not gonna play this. Okay, what can we do? This.
Reporting for duty.
Adapt. Wind Fury. this.
Handle it.
And what else can we do?
For justice.
We can do that.
Reporting for duty.
And we can do that. And I think I can almost do 14 damage, but I'd be too short. And this is gonna do 5, and this is gonna do 6, and this is gonna do 7, 8, 9. So unless I could kill this and kill this. Right, no, I should have killed that. Oops.
My thanks to you.
7, 8, 9. I screwed up. That deserves an oops.
That was a mistake.
Oh, he screwed up too. Or he's got something better he can play.
Where shall I strike?
Yeah, he's just showing off. So, I guess he probably could have won either way. Oh, we're playing odd cards. Or we may have to just play like casual or ranked after this. TechRaptor has an article. Kind of Funny Games is going to showcase the Kind of Funny Games showcase is going to feature over 60 titles. Nearly half a dozen will launch. Now, Kind of Funny Games was these 3 mainstream video game journalists who kind of broke away to make their own thing, and then one of them turned out to have conservative opinions and thus wrong think, and he was quickly asked to leave or just left, and so that left just kind of 2 of them. Maybe they found somebody else to replace him later on. Kind of Funny Games has their own YouTube channel, and like I was never really into it. I tried to get into it, but they kind of went on forever and ever and ever, and honestly they were never funny, and they weren't specifically playing games or talking about games that were funny. They tried to tend a little bit more towards news, but that didn't really happen. In a lot of ways, I didn't agree with their opinions on a lot of things, so it seemed it's just not appealing to listen week after week to people who are making arguments that not only did I not really disagree with it, I think that would have been fine, but they seem to be like willfully ignorant or intentionally acting ignorant on some factors or on some perspectives. But apparently they've decided to branch out since I stopped watching them almost a year ago. Because now they're I guess this is somewhat related to the Video Game Awards. That seems to be what they're indicating. Give me poisonous, that'll work.
The battle.
That'll work real nice.
Reporting for duty. The battle.
That minion already
The
attacked.
battle.
Come on. Kind of wish there was a button to just make them all attack. Like put a button right here, just attack all. Or let me right click while dragging. TechRaptor says traditionally after the Game Awards there's usually a calmer post show to show off more different fan games, though this event in the past has been PlayStation's PSX. Yeah, Kind of Funny Games that they, I believe, were pretty much obsessed with PlayStation games, and that was definitely a factor too, that they were just like always talking about PlayStation and not really talking about the games on PlayStation as much as just being kind of like Nintendo fans or Sega fans used to be back during the Sega Genesis and NES era, but these are supposedly adults doing that in modern time. It's pretty silly. And apparently, I didn't know this, kind of funny, are members of the Rooster Teeth Let's Play network. So this really is a Rooster Teeth event, just under a different level. And that seems like that's very much the case always, is that if you think some streamer that's successful on YouTube is independent, no, they're actually owned by some other corporation. That was hugely disappointing when like Geek and Sundry turned out to be owned basically by a Chinese corporation, and it was just pretending like it was a small independent thing being run by like a couple of somewhat famous people. Even then it really wasn't acting like it was independent though. Let's see. Could do this. This is probably the right move.
For justice.
In this instance.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see.
I fight.
One.
That minion
I don't know
already
what this is, so I'm just gonna kill it just for safety's sake. Alright, so their kind of funny's first ever game showcase will happen December 8th, intending to fill the void of the absence of PlayStation X. Over 60 games will be featured from a variety of developers, like from AAA giants like Sega and Devolver Digital, which is Devolver Digital really a AAA giant? I don't think so. It's AA at best. To smaller indie publishers like Drinkbox Studios, which I would say Devolver Digital and Drinkbox Studios are a lot closer to each other than Sega and Devolver Digital are. Kit Fox Games, Bethel Games, BITHELL Games, Outer Loop, Future Lab, and Humble Bundle. I do know who Humble Bundle is, but I don't know what games specifically they've announced or they're publishing themselves.
Reporting for duty. I am free. Out of my jungle.
Let's play that too.
The light dims, but we fight.
And
I fight.
we'll go ahead and kill this one. So I can.
Already attacked.
Oh, I can't do that. Darn it.
Job's done.
Let's see. So, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, kind of funny Twitch stream. The event billed as a digital conference is scheduled to go for an hour and will feature no sponsors, just games. Well, the games are the sponsors, let's be honest. Almost half a dozen titles are slated to be released during the window, though Kind of Funny Games has offered no details as to what games and which studios they're coming from, giving the event an aura of mystery. The host will be Greg Miller, who is one of the 3 original founders of Kind of Funny. Let's see. I tried to scroll down and see if there were any comments, and there aren't. I don't think Tech Raptor gets enough views to get any comments. Some of these events, I will say, with not having no clue what games actually get announced, I suspect a lot of these games are games that are already out or kind of nothing. Yeah.
For justice.
If I was to guess, I would not be surprised that they're talking about really indie things that that you would see just come out on Steam Direct, or things perhaps that were going to be at the PlayStation Experience, or thought they were going to be at the PlayStation Experience when that got canceled, but I doubt that's mini games either. I wouldn't be surprised if this really is just, you know, some indie developers who have some little teaser trailer already made, and they're saying, sure, we'll let you play our teaser trailer, and then most of these 60 games probably won't come out even before late 2019, if I was to guess.
The light dims. We fight.
Reporting for duty.
Speak your peace.
Let's see. And that.
For justice.
And we'll just attack there. I should have potentially attacked this just so it doesn't take away the divine shield. But, you know, Kind of Funny Games might do something amazing, and we'll talk about it on the news. People will talk about it on the news if they do announce something interesting. But the Video Game Awards, I'm not gonna try and stream that and follow that, because that's an award show that really doesn't have anything to do with actual video games coming out and people who actually want to play video games. People who want to play games, people who actually pay for the video games, want to play video games. They don't want to watch award shows. Sure, they may look at an article telling you who won what, but they're not going to spend the time for it. And if most people, in my opinion, aren't willing to watch the Game Awards, they definitely aren't going to be willing to watch what is effectively just a streamer doing a post show. Let's see. This.
Behold the might of Stormwind!
And this. Let's go ahead and play this first.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, I don't have enough room.
To battle! To battle!
What a bore.
Hit it very hard.
For justice.
Hey, looks like I'm gonna get a victory. We have a game on Steam called Tower of Power, which looks like it is a real-time strategy type game with a lot of fighting simulation going on in it too. I think. Doesn't look, oh, it's not even called Tower of Power, it's called Taste of Power. It's early access, it's $14.99. Let's look at this developer. They haven't made anything else. Yeah, nothing here looks good enough. Like, this just kind of looks like bad AI and boring blocking of large groups of people. Slightly rough pathfinding. Yeah, I'm really not seeing anything here that interests me.
Well done. You win.
Hey, I got a victory. Not too bad. So if I could get like one quick victory and then another quick victory, that would be great. We'll want to see this all the way through, so we're going to go long, but that shouldn't be too much. And I don't know if we're really going to get done with all the news. There's still plenty of news to talk about. Let's try to burn through it. We have this game called Aspect, which looks like it's kind of cool from that point and from the trailer, but looking at these screenshots, it really looks like it's just a platformer. Let's see if we can. Yeah, it's just a like infinite runner platformer.
I will fight.
And they certainly are getting more and more deceptive, where like that looks good. That would be an interesting graphic art style. This looks like garbage. This is just an infinite runner. Yeah. That's a shame. And of course, the developer hasn't made anything else. It's 10% off for $1.79. I wonder if it is something along the lines of a case where people literally only have enough money to pay an artist to make a screenshot. or a single thumbnail.
Greetings, traveler.
None will survive.
That would be weird, but I wouldn't be surprised. Good. Some of these articles are duplicates, so we can ignore them.
The light protects me.
In the turn. Gametsu has an article. Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove launches March 1st, 2019. It's no longer due out fall of 2018. No surprise there because we are into winter of 2018. So they pushed it back several months.
I wonder.
Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove really doesn't look like a game or seem like a game that should be that hard for somebody to get finished and get out on time. I do know the Toe Jam and Earl series is a nichely popular title, so
I fight.
it will get slightly more sales than something else that looked like a Toe Jam and Earl game would, but it's not hyper popular to the point where anybody probably would be upset by the fact that it's being delayed, or upset if it never came out at all. See, GameIndustry.biz has an article over here. The year games retail, and then in parentheses it says didn't die. So it could be read the year games retail die, or the year games retail didn't die, which changes the tense quite a bit. So we'll start with this attack and see if this is a explosive trap, which it is. So we'll play that. And we'll take that. The subtitle for this article is 2018 in Review. As store closures mount up, is there still hope for physical game outlets? Yeah, I think there in the United States there's still a lot of hope for game stores. This article talks specifically about Game, which is the video game store in the UK, and GameStop. I think in the US, GameStop has a chance of succeeding and staying around because the US still has very bad internet, whereas Game is potentially more likely to run into trouble as time goes on. I could definitely see instances where the internet gets good enough in the UK where everything could be downloaded and streamed, and there's less and less need for game store. Although video game stores still have kind of that popularity because kids, we're not to a point in the world where I think parents will just give their credit cards to children and let them buy things digitally without looking at it. It's a lot easier to hand a physical allowance to a kid and make them save up those dollars to buy a video game in an actual store. And it would be a slight loss to children in general if they did not learn how to go to stores and buy things, unless of course the economy in whatever country those kids are in stops being a capitalist economy. Then it doesn't really matter, but that's unlikely to happen. My point being there, as long as money is a part of life, kids can benefit from learning how to deal with money and shop at stores. Honestly, I felt like had GameStop acquired some of the stores, from Toys R Us, GameStop could have gotten grown quite a bit, because Toys R Us was not really failing because people weren't buying toys so much as Toys R Us was failing because of what is what I would argue is criminal corporate shenanigans of buying out a company via a loan that it leverages the value of the company they're buying out. Thus, Toys R Us was indebted with millions of dollars in debt to buy itself, effectively. Like, there's still quite a few things that what was I gonna say?
For justice.
And there's still quite a few things that would have to happen before
Reporting for duty.
regular video games or video game discs stop being a thing. Particularly, we'd have to go through probably 10 years of just old games that are still on disc and still being traded. So GameStop might just become like record stores, but it still would exist. Here we have a tweet talking about Epic opening a game store, giving an 88/12 cut towards all developers, no matter the sales, and also it includes the 5% royalty in that 12% cut. But also, Epic's game store is going to be curated, so it's even though it's taking just 12%, it may only let people on the storefront that are particularly like profitable developers.
Reporting for duty.
So that people is being sold at least as this idea of all indie developers are going to be allowed on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually very few or very slow as they launch. And see. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've already talked about there is a I definitely have some I'm not super impressed so far with just the idea of Tencent and Epic starting a new store. I'm of course super committed to Steam, so I personally could never go over to Epic or Epic Store, not without losing a lot of games. Like over 900 games on Steam. I'm not going anywhere. I can play this. Do I need to play this though? Not really. But yeah, really I'll just have to leave it as we shall see. See, I've got a lot of pages that are talking about the same thing. So it definitely got a lot of coverage. Meanwhile, Epic got very little coverage on the fact that they are stopping development on Unreal Tournament. And while Epic right now has Fortnite, Activision Blizzard has Overwatch. That doesn't mean that Activision Blizzard is doing great and they're in a position where they could never fail whatsoever. Let's be honest here. What do I want to do? If this is Explosive Trap, I need to find out immediately. It's Wandering Monster.
Such a perfect
Okay.
specimen.
So, do this,
The might of Stormwind.
and do this,
Reporting for duty.
For justice.
do this,
The battle.
that,
The battle.
that,
The battle.
and that.
Job's done.
So, next game we have on Steam is Arca's Path VR. We had seen a review for this, and I thought it was a PlayStation only game. Well, I guess I put it on the follow list because it's a VR game. $17.99 discounted. It kind of looks to me like it's sort of a Marvel Super Monkey Ball style game in VR. What happened over here? What did he just play? Zola the Gorgon? What? Zola the Gorgon. Choose a friendly minion, add a golden copy to your hand. I guess he played some kind of spell and he's got all kinds of secrets now. Yeah, Arcus Path will go on the follow list or keep an eye on it. If I ever get VR headsets, that'll be a thing. Right. We play this.
The light dims, but we
For justice.
We attack. Wandering monster.
Best shade of my life.
I think I just lost there. Because I think I'm gonna end up attacking this and taking full damage. So now I just theoretically would like to get 2 more victories. Gamasutra has an article, get a job, Ubiquity 6 is looking for an augmented reality prototyper. This is in San Francisco, California. Like, I don't think I've heard of Ubiquity 6. Let's see if we can find their website and see if they've actually done anything. And I'm really hating these websites. Game websites still have websites that just don't feel like modern websites at all. They feel like full takeover. We're gonna change your perspective on reality things instead of just your standard white background. We're gonna tell you some text and you're gonna move along with your day.
None will survive.
Let's see. And Ubiquity 6 seems like it is just augmented reality games, and there's nothing here I see that looks amazingly interesting or recognizable in any way.
The light dims, but we
Quickly.
Next we have a game on Steam. Here, actually let's end this turn first. Then we'll come over here. Called Surge or Sergey. This trailer has a lot of blackness around the back. I'm thinking this is probably a slightly low effort game. Let's see. There's a lot of purple in that screenshot. A lot of purple. You know what? I'm gonna watch this trailer and see if I can get a better idea as far as what's going on here, but like it looks like it's probably just a platformer. It doesn't look like it's moving that effectively. Alright, it doesn't look like it's smoothing. It looks like a Bionic Commando rearmed clone actually, because you're swinging on things and the frame rate is just bad in this trailer. Yeah, it definitely does not strike me as a good game. It's free though, so I guess they're alright with that. But looking at the publisher, the other games that this publisher has made doesn't, all rated mixed at best. Let's see.
Let me
This
Out of my jungle.
and what I want to do this.
Repent! Repent!
So yeah, Sergey, not quality enough. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Steam is under attack from all sides. Valve changes its revenue share as its world becomes increasingly hostile. Now, there's somewhat truth to this. The AAA developers would like people to buy their games off EA Origin or Uplay or other sources so that they don't have to give Valve a cut. And small indie developers are not happy with Valve, but honestly it's the same as like me complaining about YouTube. The only slight difference between a small independent developer complaining about Steam and me complaining about YouTube is that most of the people who use YouTube agree with me that YouTube sucks in many different ways. I'm not sure as many people agree with indie developers on Steam that Steam is a terrible service. I think Steam is doing pretty good for what it is. For a store where you can find games and buy games. That's all it really has to do. Let's see. We can pump this up.
Repent! Repent!
Probably gonna lose here unless I can silence this minion. I don't think I have a silence card. Things like good old games are not that good. I see in this article they mentioned Netflix for some reason. With this GameIndustry.biz article, you can read it yourself if you want to read it, but it's probably not saying anything that useful or important. Netflix Minecraft Story Mode is out, and I played a little bit of the first bit of that, and I had already played Minecraft Story Mode, so I kind of knew what I was going to be in for. There's, on my TV that I played it on, there's definitely some annoying elements of just a large amount of loading, because after every decision you make, you have to load. You can't really game the system. They've got it developed in a way so that like each chapter of each episode is locked by default, so there is some kind of saving going on. There's a video that you see the first time you launch it that it seems to me like you can't ever see that video again. It just explains what you have to do. It's actually particularly annoying trying to play a interactive video on the TV when you really just want to put the remote down and watch it, and the game does not really optimize for that. Like, theoretically, if this was like a Laserdisc game, which it basically is, theoretically the decision on the left that the cursor by default would be on should be the video that would just continue playing automatically with no load whatsoever, and yet that's not how it works.
Let me think.
And I'm not really certain why that is the case. Let's hit that. And then we'll do this.
Reporting for duty.
And how much do I have? I have 7. I have 6 right now, so I need to do this. And then do this.
Reporting for duty.
And then we'll do this. And in the turn. So yeah, also Minecraft Story Mode on Netflix takes out all the QuickTime events, all the walk-around events, so you really are just getting prompted in the dialogue choices. It's the exact same game as Minecraft Story Mode was otherwise, though, so you're not getting any new story or anything like that. So I guess if you were a fan of Minecraft but have never played Minecraft, you might want to do it on Netflix, but otherwise it kind of doesn't make any sense at all, because if you played Minecraft, that means you have a probably decent enough computer to play Minecraft story mode, and you'd almost certainly have a better experience doing it on PC. We may get to a point where you can't play Minecraft story mode on PC because Telltale's out of business, but I don't think we're at that point yet. So it's playable, but I don't think it's the future of gaming or anything that I'd actually recommend to anybody. Frankly. So we got one win, which is pretty much as good as we got on any of these Brawliciums. Let's open this pack and hope to see if we get something. Particularly, hey, we got legendary. Particularly for the Asian account, I was kind of shortchanged on legendaries, so it'd be nice if I got a lot more as we continue down the path of getting more of these. I imagine Tavern Balls will be handing us these kind of expansion cards for Rostercon's Rumble for the foreseeable future. And the other 4 of those cards were, of course, not new. Yeah, it's actually not worth doing that. We could just type in the key phrase new. Yep. Discover 2 cards, give one to your opponent. I don't think I'd ever play that. And I think the missing tag, if we were to look at this and go into classic mode and go into crafting mode, if I could hit the right key, yeah, my Asian account in particular is rather full of cards that are missing. So next expansion, where we would hope to open quite a few pages. Actually, it's kind of exactly the same as the exact same cards are missing from the Asian account as the European account. Since both accounts were started at the same time, that kind of makes sense. So now the question will be, at rank 23, does Odd Paladin win? Because it certainly doesn't work at the Brawlicium. Let's see. We have a game called Hover that's rated very positively. I think this might have been early access before, because this certainly feels like a game I've already looked at or was on my follow list. Now that it's rated very positively, I'll promote it to the wish list. It's basically, it looks like a Jet Set Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio or Jet Set Grind game. Can be played single player, so I'm not seeing anything that would stop me from putting it on the wish list. Maybe I wouldn't be super excited about playing it anytime soon, but looks good enough. So indies have been complaining about October drop in Steam traffic, or a drop in Steam traffic for some indies, but not all indies since the beginning of October. Pretty much this has been Grey Alien Games alone and a few other random people complaining.
The light protects me.
So the subtitle of this GameIndustry.biz article is Indie Complaints Prompt Rundown of Algorithm Shift, Unintentional Functionality of Promotion Tools. So let's read this directly.
Reporting for duty.
I fight.
Go ahead and hit that one. Let's see. After a number of indie devs took to social media and Steamworks to complain about the loss in October traffic to their games, Valve has offered an explanation for the sudden drop. Now, the beginning of this, I should say, has already been this explanation has already been partially rejected by Jack Burkett of Grey Alien Games, which he's the main person complaining. Let's see. The concerns are outlined best by Jack Burkett of Green Alien Games. I've been calling it Grey Alien Games. I thought it was Grey Alien Games. Well, that was an easy victory. Let's see if maybe we can get a win streak and get up to rank 20. I don't think we'll get too far above that. Let's see. Burkett says that in early October, some sort of bug in Steam's discovery algorithm kicked in, causing it to only recommend big name titles instead of relevant smaller games. As a result, traffic to his games took a hit, and Burkett says lower traffic has persisted since from sources such as other product pages and homepage. The problem I keep having with this is the idea that Steam's discovery engine was ever anything that you should have relied on. It's the same as YouTube's discovery engine, in my opinion. Like, you've really got to promote yourself or not be surprised when you don't get promoted. Like, I'm not super surprised that YouTube doesn't promote my videos. It'd be nice if they did, certainly, but I'm not surprised. Then this evening, Valve published a blog explaining what the issue was. Per the post, a change on October 5th intended to give sales and wishlist activity more weight when answering search queries, which, you know, Steam's recommendation algorithm is terrible, so anything they try to do to fix it, I'm all for. They intended to give sales and wishlist activity more weight when answering search queries has had an unintended side effect of de-boosting games in the more like this section of Steam. That more like this section of Steam is particularly the worst part of the discoverability algorithm. So honestly, even if that was done intentionally, that's probably a good move. Not until that algorithm actually recommends games that are actually like the game you're looking at. The algorithm would only show games with only one tag in common rather than a large amount of tags, meaning the most popular games were always shown. So it sounds like a simple programming error. Though the issue was fixed on October 9th, other factors over the course of the month included an experiment in the more like this section of the store and the need to increase tag similarity weighting caused the lower traffic to persist for the rest of the month for a number of games.
The light dims, but we fight.
So yeah, I know I sound like a Valve shill here, and there's no reason for me to be a Valve shill. Like, Valve sucks in a lot of ways. Like, where's Portal 3? Where's Half-Life 3? Like, why don't you run your business like a business so you actually make products? Why is Artifact so expensive just to even start playing? Where's Left 4 Dead 3, even? Like, I kind of like to play Left 4 Dead 3 more than Half-Life 3 or Portal 3. But if they're trying to fix their recommendation engine, that's a good thing. The quote here's a quote: "In general, we always try to show games to customers that we think they will enjoy, no matter who made them, what the budget was when they came out, etc." The post concludes. Now, I'm going to editorialize a little bit here and say, I have been editorializing as I'm reading this article, but I'm going to say, in general, Valve, like any corporation, would be trying to show the games that sell and make the most amount of money for them. That doesn't have to do with the budget of the game, but it does have to do with the revenue of a game. So if Valve is showing one indie game that sells for 69 cents and Valve gets like 30 cents of that, and then they're showing another game that sells for $100 and they're getting $30 of that, they're going to show the $100 game if the same number of people are buying, are likely to buy that game. So if it's 50% chance that they would buy this game or 50% chance that they would buy that game, they're going to show the more expensive game. Theoretically, at least, that's how they should be running their algorithm. Or at least that's how most corporations would run their algorithm. That's how YouTube seems to run their algorithm, certainly. Like, do they want to show a video to somebody that will cause people to watch more ads, or do they want to show a video to people that will cause them to watch less ads? Or not be monetized at all. That was the whole issue of the demonetization on YouTube. There's another quote here. We're constantly exploring ideas and trying new things to try and figure out the best ways to do this. The fact is, traffic is going to shift whenever we do this work. It may go up, it may go down for any individual product. However, not all impressions and viewers are equal. In the end, what matters is that we show customers games that they find interesting. And that's really what it will just come down to is, do you feel like what you're getting recommended on the front page or in the more like this section of Steam, do you feel like those recommendations are games that you're interested in and want to play? And it's a lot better than it used to be, but it's still pretty bad. Frankly, my front page is not full of games that I'm super interested in playing. If it was, it would be Myst 3 and Myst 4 would be at the top of the list all the time. There'd be a lot more anime games getting recommended to me. But maybe because I haven't actually bought that many anime games that I'm not getting those recommended. But often I get recommended like clicker games because I play time clickers or have time clickers. All the time. So Valve has me pegged as a person who loves idle clicker games, even though I really don't. The article concludes, unexpected traffic shifts aside, Valve is already earning criticism from indie developers following its decision to swap it to a revenue share system that offers games that earn more money, a greater share of their profits. And as far as the revenue sharing, and if you're a big seller you get more money, that's been happening in an open secret on YouTube always, so we knew that was the case. I think most people that were YouTube streamers knew PewDiePie was not having to give YouTube the same cut that everybody else was having to give. Honestly, again though, if all the indies left Steam would still be a very good service. Like, most people wouldn't even notice if all indie developers left Steam. There'd be a few games that you might miss or never know existed in the first place, but not too many.
Reporting for duty.
Let's see. Then we have another article about the Epic Store. Gamatsu has an article, 7 Scarlet, that's 7 apostrophe Scarlet, S-C-A-R-L-E-T, is coming to PC in 2019. This is an otome visual novel being ported to PC. Otome, I think, means like slightly older dudes. So it's like girls. You play as a girl. You're dating guys. You know, like dating romance simulator. Not a visual novel coming to Steam. Although, of all the games we've looked at, I haven't seen any anime visual novels in a couple weeks, but
For justice.
it might be that everybody is just taking a break
Reporting
off.
for duty.
+1, I guess.
Job done.
See. Gamma Sutra has the same article about Valve explains recent Steam traffic changes. And see, the complaint is kind of ridiculous, frankly, because it's a complaint about people coming to your store. I don't think he was even making a complaint that he was getting less sales. He was just saying, hey, less people are looking at my game's webpage, store page. Like, and to compare that back to YouTube, YouTube I get views on YouTube. I could complain if I was getting less views. I am getting less views. Everybody is. It seems to be pretty random and change all the time. But the main factor for me was the fact that I'm not getting any money. If I want this to be a business, I would like to be back to the point where I could get a few pennies per video. Once I am making money through ad revenue or something else, then I'll complain about the fact that I'm getting less views. If I draw as many cards as possible, there's a chance that I could get something like this. Yeah.
Handle it. For justice. Reporting for duty.
That. I am still one short.
Reporting for duty. Job done.
Oh man. Well, I tried. Moving on, we have a Gamatsu article. The NES Nintendo Switch Online is going to add Adventures of Lolo, Ninja Gaiden, and Warrior Woods on December 12th. I don't know what the Adventures of Lolo is, but Ninja Gaiden and Warrior Woods are recognizable NES games. I think we still need one more victory. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article, The World Ends With You, Final Remix Review. The port ends with you. So, The World Ends With You, Final Remix, I think is a Switch game only. So, and I don't think, because it was a DS game that actively used the two screens, they actually had to change, I think, quite a lot to get it to work on the Nintendo Switch. So I'm not sure how well it really transferred. Kind of wish it would have come to PC. It always looked like an interesting game. But I'm not sure I ever really even figured out what kind of game it really was. Anyways, TechRaptor gave it a 7.5, very good. Ultimately, The World Ends With You Final Remix is a so-so port of an excellent JRPG. If you've never played it before, there's still a great time to be had. However, if you have a choice, grab the original. So, yeah, TechRaptor's not happy with the port. The pros, it's extremely interesting story, a fun combat system, new content is cool, an amazing soundtrack. The cons is it has horrible TV controls, strange porting decisions, a 10-pin slammer, and bad co-op. 10-pin slammer, I don't know what that is referencing to, but I do know that there are pins you collect in the game that affect your actions. And we're at the end, and all the new news is here. So GameIndustry.biz, last Monday we talked about how Starbreeze was filing for restructuring, which actually turns out to not be bankruptcy in Sweden, but a alternate to bankruptcy to avoid filing bankruptcy, is what I heard. Well, the surprise twist and follow-up to this story: Starbreeze Studios was raided by the authorities and one person was arrested.
Reporting for duty. Battle.
No, they didn't tie a person up and crucify him, so that would be erected. Swedish Economic Crime Authority have seized computers and documents from the troubled publisher this morning. They did this surprise raid. The question that I've heard is that they're investigating. Well, the quote here is it claims the incident is related to, quote, gross insider crimes, as in insider trading, it seems like. So, like, I guess if you're filing for restructuring or bankruptcy, the first thing they do is determine whether somebody has sold stock or not. Now, this would be interesting if it was the CEO, but it would also not surprise me if it's just somebody in the middle tier management or even low level. Let's see. There's a quote here from the public investor relations chief of quote, the company as such is not the subject of any suspicion. The company cooperates with the ECO. The event does not affect the company of the ongoing business restructure. So it'd be funny if this really is the CEO that they turned over to the authorities because of insider trading. I mean, the CEO was already obviously getting a golden parachute after running the company into the ground, but usually that's not illegal, even in Sweden. There's an update here. The ECO press office has issued a statement. Quote, this morning officials from the Swedish Economic Crimes Authority raided the offices of Starbreeze in Stockholm. One person was arrested and items were seized. The raid is part of an ongoing investigation involving suspected insider trading. Let's see. See if this final quote says anything. Nope, no indication on who the person was, and I doubt we would probably even know who the person was.
Behold the might of Stormwind!
But that is quite the unexpected twist. Like, when Starbreeze said they were going to restructure, I was like, okay, well, this company is probably done for, but I didn't think anybody was going to go to jail for it. Maybe more people should go to jail for being grossly incompetent and slimy in running their company, or slimy inside their company. You know, business ethics equals no ethics is not a way to let people run the world.
Mushroom power! The battle! The battle!
There you go. Let's see, we have a game on Steam called Solitaire Mysteries 4 Seasons. This is a match, just like standard solitaire game. Let's see how much it is. $5.99 seems pretty expensive there. I want to roll down here and see what the more like this section looks like right now. The Room is a puzzle game, not quite a solitaire game. There's a hidden object game. Here's a hidden object game. Here's Eventide 2, Heroes of the Kingdom, Secret Order, Heroes of the Kingdom. You know what I'm not seeing here is I'm not seeing any AAA games, so either this got fixed or it really wasn't that big of a deal. Let's see, I'm gonna just click here.
I wonder.
Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
This,
Reporting for duty.
this,
Out of my jungle.
that,
I must move quickly.
The light dims, but
and
we
then
fight.
well, interesting. When I clicked more like this, it's the same handful of games and nothing else came up. Interesting. So I thought that this solitaire game might have more solitaire, but this is tagged hidden object game. It's clearly not. It's clearly a solitaire card game, or at least maybe some of it is. Oh, it does have some hidden object games in it. Interesting. Well, there are a lot more hidden object games than there are solitaire games. What a weird combination of two kind of generic games. Well, as far as what this game is, though, it's not making it to the follow list. I'm not interested in whatever it is.
Go away. Job's done.
Game Sutra has an article, and lots of people have been talking about this. The PlayStation Classic has the ability to access the hidden settings of the emulator if you just plug in a keyboard. Most keyboards will work, a USB keyboard, and just hit escape. This gives you some ability to change settings and improve what you get out of it. But I don't think it inherently turns the PlayStation Classic into a good product. Alright. So I'm going to, as we sit here, we have no more to do. I'm going to just quickly scroll through the news and talk about a few things, and then that'll be the end of the stream. Game of Sutra has an article. Valve's Steam Link amp has landed on Raspberry Pi in beta, so instead of the Steam Link hardware, they seem to be now trying to get it just to run on the Raspberry Pi. I'm not sure if that would work particularly well, but maybe if you program it very, very well to do that one thing, to allow you to stream games from a much more powerful game to a Raspberry Pi, that'd be good, and it would put the Steam Link hardware into more of a standardized form factor with Raspberry Pis and make a Raspberry Pi a little bit more valuable. If you're doing a Pi Zero, it might be only $5 to build one. If you're doing like a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, you're probably paying $25 or $35 for it, which would be more expensive than the $10 it would have been to get the Steam Link. But I think there's definitely a lot of chances that you're going to improve on your future opportunities. Also, if you have a Raspberry Pi and you try the Steam Link option and you don't like it, then you can still use the Raspberry Pi for several other things, and running emulation station to run emulators, or just installing Linux on it. Let's see, I have a lot of games still to cover. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and close one game that's not in English and looks like garbage. is GameIndustry.biz has the article. Epic is no longer developing Unreal Tournament. The current version will continue to be available, but no further updates are expected. Singing Unreal Tournament was announced in 2014 and never really got off the ground, even though it kind of come out of beta, I think. Skipping over a decent amount of games. See, Gamatsu has an article. Nier Automata shipments and digital sales top 3.5 million, 1 million on the PlayStation 4 in the Asia region alone. Nier Automata did well, still doing well. Can we ever get that PC patch that was promised? Let's see. Let's see. TechRaptor has an article. South Korea seeks to punish people who ELO boost in competitive games. I don't know what EL boost is, though. So, some kind of account boosting. EL boosting is when a highly skilled player takes control of an account that's not their or theirs in order to raise the account's rank. So yeah, South Korea takes its esports accurately serious. GameIndustry.biz, Mike Laidlaw joins Ubisoft Quebec City. The Dragon Age creative director lands at Assassin's Creed Odyssey's studio to helm an unannounced project. So yeah, Dragon Age, there is a new Dragon Age I think that's coming out, but the creative director is not involved in it anymore, so that sounds like bad news for any Dragon Age fans. Let's see. Guess that's nothing to talk about. Gamma Sutra has a blog that probably nobody needs to read called "The Design Lessons Designers Fail to Learn from Demon Souls, Dark Souls." I can't even get the page to load. So yeah, learn from Dark Souls. Honestly, I don't think Dark Souls 1 in particular taught a lot of lessons in good game design. It just turned out to be a really, really successful and lucky game that introduced maybe a couple of interesting ideas that then got played out way too much, with being incredibly difficult and focusing on trying over and over again. There's always been this series of games that come out every now and then in the video game world that are incredibly difficult, but people like the fact that they're incredibly difficult. Catherine is kind of a good example of that. But that's not the way that the entire industry should go. Let's see. Gematsu's article, Luminous Productions appoints the Final Fantasy XV lead programmer Takashi Aramaki as studio head, taking over the reins from Hajime Tabata. So, from what I'm hearing, and this is big time speculation, Hajime Tabata was the reason why Final Fantasy XV was bad, but I doubt that means that the lead programmer should be the person in charge of making Final Fantasy XVI. Like, maybe he does have some ideas and maybe he does have the chops to do it, but it really feels like a standard Japanese, we're going to promote the person who was directly below the person who left, just because he's put in the time and the years, and even though he may not be a good match or a good fit whatsoever. Reset Era is still garbage. They tried to launch their 2.0 forums. This happened a couple days ago, and they had complete and total trouble there. Not only is their 2.0 forum still garbage, it still is a flaming pile of progressive liberal stuff. Man, I'm sounding really mean about it, but it really is. It's just pro censorship, just pro progressivism to an insane level. No discourse is allowed whatsoever on there. So trying to run a forum where no discourse or contradictory ideas are even allowed is ridiculous. Let's see, can we get here? Gamatsu has an article, 20th Century Fox trademarks Avatar Pandora Rising for use with a video game. This might be the title of Ubisoft's Avatar game that they're developing. I didn't even remember that Ubisoft was developing a game. I've never watched Avatar, the movie, so I'm not sure. I would want to actually play a game based on a movie I've never watched. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender in clips, but I actually haven't. I don't think I've watched a single episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender either. Let's see. Sucker Punch is seeking a senior lighting artist. That would be out of Bellevue, Washington. And let's see. Man, I still have a lot of articles. I've hit the edge of my browser, Chrome. So I have so many tabs open that I can't even go any further. So I think if I don't cover all of these games by the end of Friday, I will at that point have to just spend some time off screen to look at these games. Concerned Ape is the developer of Stardew Valley. Starting December, he's publishing Stardew Valley himself and not using whatever publisher he was using before. Like, I should probably know more information there because I'm fairly certain that the publisher of Stardew Valley might have been Starbreeze. Let's see. Pokemon Go trainer battles are coming soon. And that got me to the Humble Bundle finally. And that's where I wanted to look, just to see if there was any new bundle. I did finally get around to buying the most recent bundle. There's a Team 17 bundle, which if you wanted to get escapist games, you could pay more than the average of $5.58, and you'd also get Sheltered Stasis and Overcooked Gourmet Edition. If you pay $1, you'll get Panarium Worms Clans Wars and Interplanetary Enhanced Edition. And if you pay $10 or more, you get Worms WMD. So there's a lot more Team 17 games that could have been in this bundle, honestly. There's a Yogscast Jingle Jam 2018 that's pretty expensive bundle, but it's like a new game every day till Christmas, so maybe it would be worth it, but last time I looked, it kind of didn't seem like the games that were coming out were that great. Last year that was kind of the case too, so it's just a lot of random games that I've never heard of. And yeah, it still seems very much like there's a lot of random games you've never heard of. So if you just want games, maybe that would be okay. There's a board games bundle that cover a bunch of board games I've never heard of. I think I talked about that on Monday, so I'm not even gonna bother. And that's it for games bundles on the Humble Bundle store. Well, we went about 2 hours in this recording. We got all the daily quests done, and that's good enough for me. So that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, you can support me down below via Patreon or friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.